Well, it's that time of year again. The holiday season is here, and as the yearly tradition goes, so is the World Junior Championship. Now this is going to be a slightly different year with it being in the Edmonton bubble, but the tournament will surely be packed full of exciting hockey and dramatic moments, even though the building won't be packed with fans. Due to the impact COVID-19 has had on hockey, it has led to some stronger rosters for countries who have NHL-ready prospects like the host Canadians. But just how good is this Team Canada roster going to be? Hey, it's Matt from Puck Rivals, and in this video Billy and I are going to analyze this Canada roster and reveal who we have as role players, potential dark horses to steal the show, and the true stars of this team. And just to be clear before we start, in all these groupings there's no particular order, we just have them grouped together. So the order you see them is not particularly how we feel about them in order of skill. Comment what players you're most excited to watch in this tournament, and let's get right into the video. Starting off, we have the role players who will be responsible for contributing in different areas and be more like utility type players to help Canada win gold. Dawson Mercer will be a key role player for Canada. He's a jack of all trades type of player who is responsible defensively and can chip in offensively as well. The first round pick was scoreless as a role player in last year's tournament and will look to bring that in-game experience to be an even more impactful role player this time around. The next role player is 2019 first round pick Jacob Pelletier. The forward will look to use his speed to be effective on the forecheck and eliminate time and space for the opposing team. He could also look to chip in offensively by taking advantage of weaker matchups behind the stars of this team. Ryan Suzuki is another role player on this Canada team. Suzuki is also a player who can use his speed to be effective on the ice. And just like his brother Nick, he is a smart player and can cause turnovers to lead to offensive scoring chances the other way. Connor Zary can end up being a key role player for Canada in this tournament. The Calgary draft pick plays a 200-foot game and is a player that coaches can rely on in any situation. He's not afraid to get involved in the dirty areas on the ice and win puck battles, which is a really useful skill against the tougher opponents in this tournament. Moving on to the blue line, we have Justin Barron as a role player. The big right-handed D-man has a complete game, and his hockey IQ and skating make him hard to beat one-on-one. He makes the smart and safe plays, which isn't flashy, but it gets the job done, and it's really useful to have guys like that in this tournament. Recent Montreal Canadiens draft pick Caden Gooley is another role player on this team. A tall D-man at 6'3", Gooley plays a smart defensive game and could be relied on as more of a shutdown guy if he's given that role. He's not afraid to set the tone by throwing his weight around either, and plays a physical game along the boards and in front of the net. And the next role player is another Caden and another big defenseman in Caden Korzak. With his 6'4" frame, he's another reliable defenseman who isn't afraid to throw hits and sacrifice his body to block shots. Korzak skates very well for his size and is going to be another guy who opposing forwards struggle to beat. Braden Schneider is the next role player D-man for Canada. To stick to the theme, he's another reliable 200-foot player. Schneider plays a smart game who can cut off passing options and win battles in the corners and in front of the net. The last role player on this Team Canada roster is defenseman Jordan Spence. With his smaller size at 5'10", he uses his outstanding skating ability to be effective on the ice. He is a great distributor of the puck and breaks up offensive attacks with his good stick. And now that we're done with the role players, it's time for Billy to go over the next two groups on this Team Canada roster.
Alright, so with that we'll move on and take a look at the dark horses of Team Canada. Dark horses are players on the team that aren't coming into the tournament as stars, but they'll have the skill to be big impact players in the tournament, perhaps even better than the stars in some cases. Starting with forwards, Dylan Holloway of the Wisconsin Badgers is a dark horse for the Canadiens. His combination of speed, physicality, and skill will be key to his and his line's success. The Oilers prospect looks to make a big impact in his first World Juniors tournament, and playing with someone like Newhook gives him a good chance to impress. Peyton Krebs is the next of many dark horses on the squad. Krebs owns great puck skills and vision to create offense anywhere in the lineup. This will also be Krebs' first World Juniors, but as a 19-year-old who has tore up the WHL, he's got a real shot at surprising some people with some offensive output. The next dark horse is speedster Alex Newhook. Newhook is an extremely talented forward who has explosive skating and great offensive ability. Another first-time World Junior, Newhook tore up the NCAA as a freshman and will look to carry that over into the tournament. The next dark horse on the roster is Cole Perfetti. Perfetti's greatest asset is his hockey IQ, and combined with his puck skills and his release, always makes him a threat. The 10th overall pick in 2020 is sure to provide value no matter where he plays in the lineup, due to that elite hockey sense. Now moving right along, next up is Jack Quinn. Quinn is a goal scorer with a good shot and positional awareness in the offensive zone. The recent pick of the Sabres will be looked upon to provide scoring depth, and if he starts to get going, he could see himself move up the depth chart. And the last dark horse forward is Philip Tomasino. Tomasino plays with high energy, which is perfect for this tournament, and has good combination of producing offense and forcing turnovers or steals. The Predators' 2019 first rounder should appear to be a very solid two-way player for Canada, but his offensive capabilities could be underrated. The one and only dark horse defenseman on Canada is Thomas Harley. The defender will look to use his mobility and offensive instinct to provide some offensive support from the blue line. Not necessarily a household name, Harley could make a name for himself in his first World Junior tournament. As for goalies, well, all three of Canada's goalies this year are dark horses: Dylan Garand, Taylor Gauthier, and Devin Levi. One is undrafted, and the other two are a 4th and 7th round pick. Draft position doesn't mean everything though, especially with goaltenders. Each one of these guys has the chance to steal the show and really make a name for himself this tournament. That is why all three of them are dark horses. Now with the dark horses out of the way, let's take a look at the players on this Canada roster that are set to be the stars of the team. Star players are those big name players who should make the biggest impact on the ice and ready to lead the team to glory. The first star of Team Canada to look at is 2nd overall pick Quinton Byfield. He owns pretty much the perfect set of size, speed, skill, and strength. With a longer offseason to get into shape and bulk up, Byfield could look like a man amongst boys out there. He didn't have the greatest showing in last year's tournament, but with a much expanded role and another year of development in the books, Byfield is one to watch for Canada. I don't think his tournament this year will be anything close to what it was last year. The next star for Team Canada is Dylan Cozens. Cozens is a dual threat forward that can really fly out there on the ice. He has a motor and the size that allows him to hunt down every puck and battle along the boards. Last year, 18-year-old Dylan Cozens was one of Canada's best forwards, so a 19-year-old Cozens with another year of growth and domination in the WHL should make for one of the best players in the tournament. If it weren't for the pandemic, he really could have been playing NHL hockey right now. The next star for Canada did play NHL hockey last year, and it should come as no surprise, Kirby Dach. Yet another big-bodied forward, Dach uses it to his advantage to protect the puck and uses his high-end vision to make plays. His combination of smooth skating, vision, poise with the puck, and strength makes him such a deadly weapon for Canada. Having played at the highest level in the NHL and the Stanley Cup playoffs, Dach has the chance to really take over this tournament as a 19-year-old on Canada's quest for gold. I would expect big things from him this tournament. The last forward for Canada that we have in the Stars section is Capitals prospect Connor McMichael. The Happy Meal McDavid is an all-around player that has taken massive strides offensively, almost going 2 points per game in the OHL last season. His shot and his vision specifically have seen great improvement and are partly responsible for this surge in production. Last year at this tournament, McMichael was rock solid and was one of Canada's key forwards. Now at 19 years old, McMichael should be set for an even better performance and no question can help lead this team to another gold medal. Moving right along, Bowen Byram is one of 2 star defensemen for the Canadiens this holiday season. He is a great skating defenseman who can move the puck with confidence and put up lots of points. He will be ready to play big minutes this tournament as Canada's presumable number 1 defenseman. Last tournament, Byram was not bad by any means, but he didn't exactly light it up either. But the 4th overall pick in 2019 is a full year older and is still a top tier defense prospect that should be ready to carry the load on the blue line. And the last of Canada's star players is another defenseman in Jamie Drysdale. He is an offensive-minded defenseman with an elite skating ability and shouldn't be overlooked in his own end either. He will be paired with Byram, and together they certainly could be the best pairing in the tournament. Last tournament, Drysdale made the team as a draft-eligible defenseman, and if you know Hockey Canada, that is a big deal. He also played very well and was among Canada's best defenders too. As with most players on this list, another year older and experienced to really take control of games alongside Bowen Byram. Overall, this is one of the strongest Team Canada rosters that we've seen in recent memory. Almost everyone on the roster is a first round pick, the exceptions being the goalies, Jordan Spence, and Caden Korchuk. But yeah, literally everyone else is a first round pick. The forward core is very deep and star-studded. Every line has the ability to make a difference in games and produce. The Canadians also boast what likely could be the best pairing in the tournament with Bowen Byram and Jamie Drysdale. The only question mark for this team is between the pipes. It's a pretty big unknown how the goaltending will take shape and perform. Which of the three goalies will step it up and earn the starting job? Will any of them? Not an easy spot to be in for these guys, but I'm sure they are up for the challenge, and we'll all be there to cheer them on. If you enjoyed this roster breakdown, then don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons. This has been Billy and Matt from Puck Rivals, and like all of you, we look forward to watching the tournament come Christmas time.